Can you say what he did to trigger the meeting?
He was... I asked him if he had access to a target, and he said, not today, but I could fuck her if I wanted to. I said, get out of here. He goes, she's been flirting with me for 40 years. I said, well, she has something that I want. Can you get close enough to her to get it? And he said, yeah. I said, then get it. So he triggered the meeting to say he fucked her and she gave him everything that I had asked for and he wanted to give it to me. I said, you're a dog, you know that? You're like an animal. I said, you're an old man. You're older than my father, I told him. And you're banging women to get information from them? He's like, this is the life we've chosen for ourselves. I said, okay, all right. No need to get dramatic about it now.
I fucking love this guy. I love him.
I Googled him a few years ago and he died. He died about 10 years ago. I was sorry to see, but he was a genuinely good guy. Yeah.
So to that point, what is the role of sex in espionage?
Well, the written rule, and there's the written rule and the unwritten rule. The written rule is verboten. You never, ever sleep with an agent or with a target. The unwritten rule is when you sleep with the agent or the target, you have to report it to headquarters. And then they make a determination as to whether or not you can continue to sleep with them. You know, we had one guy, when I was the deputy director's executive assistant, you know, I had access to literally every cable in the world that the CIA was producing. So
Wow.
I was read into every compartment. And there was one of our guys out there, a young guy, good looking, go-getter. And he's like, I was targeting this woman and she has access to the prime minister's office and one thing led to the other. And so it's like, well, what do we do? So we said, are you into her? Or was it just one of these things where you had too much to drink? He goes, I'm into her and I think she's into me. And we were like, okay, you can continue to see her, but she's no longer a target. You're going to have to find somebody else. He ended up marrying her.
Wow.
Yeah. He had to resign. I mean, if you're going to marry a Brit or Australian or Canadian, okay, you got to report it. But most countries, you have to offer your resignation and then headquarters decides whether to accept the resignation or not. That country she was from, they accepted the resignation.
That's so interesting to me about kind of the lines blurring in these situations, right?
Because you're a human.
Right. There's attraction.
You know? Yeah.
But it goes back to the point about, is it a real relationship or is it a fake one?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was a brand new case officer with zero experience, I was assigned to work with this liaison officer who was the ugliest woman I had ever met in my life. It was like a joke. You know, like somebody took pieces of clay and as a joke, you know, made this face. So I've just arrived. I just met her. And the chief says, well, she was really friendly to you in the meeting. I said, oh yeah. I said, she mentioned she has an interest in American Expressionist art. And I actually know a little bit about American Expressionism. Child Hassam and, you know, the early 20th, late 19th century American Expressionists. And he said, listen, I want you to fuck her. And I go, what? I go, you saw what she looks like?